these people.
All for your mustache.
All for my mustache. Wait a minute, there's got to be something else happening.
Well, your curtains do match your carpet, as we all say. Oh, shut up, you. Don't point at me with that finger. Ladies and gentlemen, speaking of pointing at fingers, our next guest doesn't have a mustache. But he does go by the name Misha Collins.
Almost went in my mouth.
I'm sorry, I realized I was also just picking my nose. It wasn't, I thought I would have enough to grab on
Yeah,
to
it's
do
not
before,
quite
but
enough.
then I couldn't, and then I just
No.
stuck my finger in your mouth.
yeah. And there we were again.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
New shoes?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
I've only worn them a few times.
Yeah, I can tell.
They're still mostly white. You can see they're starting to develop some scuff marks here.
That's okay.
Thank you for noticing.
Yeah, you're welcome. I figured nobody has questions. I'm just doing time killer stuff. You know what I mean? Oh, wait, you want to hear from Misha? Oh, never mind.
No, they don't, and you know that. But you want to get off stage, so you're trying to...
Oh, you.
I know.
You have a follow-up question for me.
tricks.
Ladies and gentlemen, mustacheless for, I don't know, several days, Misha Collins.
You realize that you're blocking the egress here. I know you have a media badge, but it feels very dangerous. You have a box. Oh, that's the media box. In case those of you who can't see it, this woman has brought a roll of blue tape and just taped out a square for herself to sit on. She staked out this territory as her own, and because there's tape, it looks official to me. Yeah. I like your style. Hello. Hi. Oh my God, what a good class you are. But it's good morning, Mr. Collins. Thank you. It's not morning though. I'm sorry about that. It's nice to be back in Seattle. I was reminded of an experience that I had in Seattle some years ago in the photo ops just now, because 3 or 4 women came in for a photo dressed. How do you know I'm talking about you? Dressed as French maids. Sort of fishnet vibe, French maid look. And I was like, ooh, and then I was reminded of why that was. And so when I was doing Gish, my scavenger hunt, I had this, that's right, for the 5 of you who know what I'm talking about. So I was doing Gish, my scavenger hunt, and one year I decided I'd like to break the Guinness World Records for breaking the most number of Guinness World Records in one day, which I failed to do. But it led to us coming up with 3 things that we could do with a large group of people to break 3 Guinness World Records in one day. And the first one was the largest number of French maids. The second one was the largest number of people with decorated hats, but they were like bowls of fruit, like still lifes. And then the third Guinness World Record that we were going to break was the largest number of people, the largest human chain to pass a hula hoop over their bodies unbroken. And about 1,000 people showed up for this event dressed as French maids. the cheapest place that we could find to do this was it was a Saturday high school gymnasium. And it was like one of the hottest days on record in Seattle. It was like 88 degrees. And this was an un-air conditioned gymnasium.
And you were late.
And I was more than an hour late. And we had not furnished people with water or fans or anything. And so there's 1,000 people packed into this relatively small gymnasium, and really packed in. And they're sweating, and the body heat, and the sun beating down on the building, and people are really like starting to flag by the time I got there. And I got there with my iced coffee, totally refreshed, having hopped out of an air-conditioned car, and I waltzed in, and I was like, "Hey guys, how you doing?" And everybody's like, makeup is like melting down their faces, miserable, hot, in these like tight corsets. And we took the photos and did the count that we had to do to get the first Guinness World Record. And then we did what we had to do to get the second Guinness World Record. And then someone came up and they were like, "Hey Misha, I'm a nurse and I think people are really having a hard time here. And maybe we should just like call it quits." And I was like, "No." And so then I was like, let's pop outside. Everybody in your, still in your French maid uniforms, let's pop outside. There's a field right out front here with no shade. Well, why don't we all go out there and make a giant human chain? And so everybody went outside into the yard of the school, and everybody held hands, and we started at one end. And the deal with this particular Guinness World Record is they had judges there monitoring. And if at any point people let go, any two people in this chain let go of their hands, that was it. We didn't break the record. Everybody had to keep holding hands the entire time, and then each person snaked the hula hoop over their body and down to the next person, over 1,000 people. And by the time we finished, and you can vouch for me here, 7 ambulances had come because people were passing out from heat exhaustion. And the people next to them were continuing to hold their hands. We stuck with it, and it was like, but I thought that was a kind of a cool message to send. It was like, Misha is willing to risk your life for his vanity. And I did, in my defense, after we broke the record, and I was like, all right, cool, you guys, it's okay, you can get in the ambulances now. I did spend well over an hour on the phone with people calling various different hospitals to check to see if they were still alive. So I was a good person in the end. I did feel a little bad about that. Speaking of Gish, can I just this just occurred to me, so I read an article. I don't know, how many of you saw the really awesome presidential debate the other night? Yeah. It was so inspiring. It just fired me up. I was so excited after I watched that. That's right. But it was an article that analyzed, by the way, I just have to say, we are so fucked. But there was an article that analyzed the debate styles of the respective candidates. But actually, Biden's was just barely alive. And then Trump's was something called Gish Gallop. Anybody see this? And I was like, oh, that's me. That's me. So Gish Gallop is a debate style where you just say as many falsehoods and lies as you can in each statement, and it overwhelms your debate opponent to the point that they're like, I don't know which thing that he just said to try to point out is not true, and then your opponent ends up wasting all of their time trying to be like, that's not true. And then they never actually get to say anything. And it's actually a debate technique that they use in like high school debates. And it's called Gish. It's Gish Gallo. And it's like, I feel like, oh my God, that's maybe like, I don't know, is that my contribution to the world? Like, the more you lie, the better you do, because that's basically what happened. Gish was not about lying. It was about nearly dying. It's a very different. Thank you. Honestly, I feel like at this point, anybody for president other than what's on offer? Okay. I have a friend here who lives in Washington, and I was discussing like, oh, what should I talk about on stage? I'm sorry, I know you're in line. You want me to talk about something else, but I obviously don't really care about other people. Yeah. So I was like, I don't know what to talk about. And she said, well, you could talk about my school project. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Addie, would you said you wanted to come on stage. Would you like to come discuss this? So, hi, this is Addie. You can use your voice too, if you want. Here, come this way. So Addie had this school project. Can you describe what the school project was for this audience who doesn't know?
You had to pick a famous person in Washington to research.
But more specifically, they gave you a list of people, and okay, don't screw this up for me. It wasn't just famous people in Washington, it was famous people who
had an impact in Washington.
But actually, more specifically,
a positive impact.
But to make things easy for the class, the 7th graders, the assignment was just to pick from a list of options. There was a menu of famous people who had really deeply benefited in positive ways the state of Washington. My name was on the list. I know, because like, motherfucker, I live in Washington. But so Addie was like, I'm gonna take Misha. What happened?
I interviewed him. And we took pictures of us wrestling. And then we took a picture of him duct taped to the wall. And then I hung it up in the hallways of my school.
Go, Addie!
It was pretty satisfying. All right, well, that's it. Do you want to add anything else?
You're on the bottom half of the list.
We are going to have a serious talk after this. What grade did she get? Doesn't matter. She got an F in my book. Hi. Help.
My question is, what's the weirdest interaction you've had with a fan?
The weirdest interaction I've had with a fan? I recognize a lot of people here have done some pretty weird shit.
Not wearing socks.
Not wearing socks is not something, a weird interaction that
You took your shoe off.
Not a weird thing that a fan did, it's a weird thing that I did.
You took your shoe off, and then
I
someone
took
had
a
to
shoe off?
smell it. Yes.
Again, you're pointing out something weird that I did. That's not what the question is. I guess that could be how the question is interpreted. The weirdest thing I've done to a fan? Well, there was this one time where there were 7 ambulances. I don't know. I mean, there are a lot of strange things that have happened. Well, I would say one thing is coming to mind. I was sitting at this table with, it was like a fan sort of meet and greet thing at a European convention where they had us go from table to table. And I sat down at this table and they had little snacks on the table. And I grabbed a napkin and I wiped my mouth and I set it down. And then when I was getting up from the table, the woman that was sitting next to me went like this. And I was like, does she work at some like genetics lab? Someday they're not gonna see a clone and it's because I left some spit behind on a napkin. That kind of creeped me out. I don't know why it popped into my head just now, because I'm sure there's weirder things, but thank you for that question. Hi.
Hi, my name is Gabe Ritchie. I'm here representing my mother, Cecily Ritchie.
And Castiel, I might add.
How could you tell? Was it the face? Did the face give it away?
Yeah, it did.
That's my bad. So she actually met you in Hawaii, and she asked you a question, and she was very upset because she says that you answered her wrong. The question that she asked you was, what were you like as a kid? And then you had decided to answer that the way that it was said. But she wanted a different answer because she's silly that way. So she wanted to know, what were you interested in as a kid? What were the things that you were into, the things that kind of brought you to where you are today?
Yeah, I feel like I'm stepping into a trap here. What did I say? Where is your mother?
I don't know.
Is she even here? Does your mother exist?
Okay, not to shame her, but they did kick her out like last time, so I don't know if she's...
Well, I can see why they did. So is she in fact here, or you don't know?
I think she might currently be watching outside, but...
Oh, really? They won't let her in the room with other people, huh?
Let her in. I don't know what the...
Oh, there she is.
Oh, never mind. There she is.
What was the... And is that your sibling with your mom?
Yes.
Yeah. He's the problem. What was the question that what did I say that was wrong about what I was like as a child? Man, you really hold a grudge. That was a long time ago. Can't we move on? Ugh. Now you want to know what my hobbies were as a child? Well, I would just tell your mom to refer back to the original question, because I told you what I was doing as a child, right? What was my personality like? That's not the same question that I just asked. So I feel like now you probably got to get your shit together, okay, lady? I was a bit shy, and my younger brother was always very good at talking to strangers, and I had no idea how he could pull that off. I moved a lot, so I was in different schools all the time, so I was always the new kid at school, and I was awkward and not super athletic, and kind of all the same things that you still see now. I thought of myself as a watcher so I would just sort of like observe people and sort of take things in a lot and be a little bit quiet and a little bit off on the sidelines. And then at some point in my early adolescence, I started figuring out, oh, I have a little trick that I can do, which is I figured out like self-deprecating humor and how to kind of make jokes to draw people in. And so I started making a lot of jokes, and usually it was pretty self-deprecating. And then at some point, it was like maybe a couple years after that, when I was maybe junior in high school, I realized, oh, I think all of my self-deprecating jokes are starting to make me feel bad about myself. I have to stop doing that. Yeah, I don't know. There's. I partially answered your original question, but in so doing, I reserve the right to totally disregard this question. Fair?
Thanks a lot, Bob.
Hello.
I was just going to ask a super vague question, if you had any fun writing stories.
Fun writing stories?
Yeah,
Oh gosh.
just to put you completely on the spot.
Yeah, well, all of these questions kind of serve that function. I don't, the first thing that's popping into my mind is I just had a trip to Kiev in Ukraine, and my friend Darius, who is a writer and director, came with me, and we had a 15-hour train ride from Warsaw into Kiev, and then a 15-hour train ride back. And we spent some time writing and working on stories while we were on those train rides, and spent some time with one another reflecting on what a cool experience that was. So that's a cool writing story, I guess.
That's nice.
And then there was another time where my pen ran out of ink. That's a little less interesting. Yes. Hi.
Hi, I'm Anya. So besides Supernatural, I liked you in Gotham Knights.
Well, thank you very much.
I got canceled, but I was wondering,
Thank you. I'm also sorry it got canceled.
I was wondering how long the Two-Face makeup took you.
The Two-Face makeup took about 4.5 hours to put on and a little over an hour to take off. So when the show got canceled, I was super relieved. I actually didn't end up wearing that makeup. I only wore it one day on the show, because basically the very finale of the series, the finale episode had the big reveal of the Two-Face makeup, and it was setting it up for the second season where I had really morphed from being Harvey Dent into being Two-Face. But it was pretty cool. It was like the best Halloween costume ever, because I could walk into a room in profile this way and then go like that and freak people out. And I was doing it all day. So I had a day where we did the trial makeup and I tested it out, and then a day where we actually filmed. So I put it on a couple of times. But both times I spent a couple of hours walking around the offices, the production offices, and sets, just trying to freak people out. And it worked, because people were like, hey, Misha. I was like, hey, how are you? And they'd be like, oh. And it was so deeply satisfying. What is that? I love doing that to people. I do it to my kids, and I think it's actually causing them to be a little bit emotionally unstable. Because I'll hear my son wake up in the morning at 6 a.m. and go to the bathroom and close the door, and I'll be like, oh great, right outside the door in the bathroom. And he's like, the eyes are barely open. He opens the door and I go, ah! The last time I did it, he fell backwards and slid across the floor into the bathtub. What is wrong with me? Anyway, thanks for that question. Hi.
Hi, one word, obsessed. My question's hopefully fast. So when are we getting another episode of Cooking Fast and Fresh with Wes?
Well, I have a couple in the can. He actually, not too long ago, asked to do, he was like, remember those cooking things we used to do? We should do another one. And it's lost its charm, you know, because he's like, his voice has changed and he's almost my height. But he thought it was hilarious and laughed the whole time, and it was very sweet. But he also has now developed a consciousness of likes and reposts and things like that. And I feel like that could cause even more brain damage than smashing his head against the bathtub. So I've been trying to insulate him from the terrors of the internet. Not actually successfully. Actually, he's actually now on YouTube all the time, and it starts innocently with like, "Oh, I'm just watching chess videos, Dad." Right. But those were fun to do. I have some very fond memories of those moments. The kids having license to just do whatever they want and make a total mess of the kitchen. And it actually, I think it's wonderful for the kids because they get this like freedom and play and they start associating it with cooking. And that was really the germ and genesis of then subsequently writing a cookbook called The Adventurous Eaters Club. And in that book, we really, part of the message was to expand kids' palates, have them be involved in the cooking process, but not only that, like give them license to make a mess and don't worry about it. And I'm now a single dad who does not have full-time nanny like we did back then. And I realized, like, what the fuck were you thinking? What an awful message to send to parents. Like, what's wrong with you, parents? Why don't you want to spend all day on your hands and knees cleaning up a mess behind your children? Because that's what the fallout of every single cooking session with those kids would have been. Like, we did this episode called I think it's the Thanksgiving edition or something, where my son decided he wanted to make pasta with jam sauce. Whatever the F that is. And then we went to the store and he picked out all the ingredients and we made it. And at one point he had the electric mixer, the hand mixer, right? And he was mixing in the bowl and stuff was like flying out of the bowl all over, like you could see, I'm on camera talking and you can see like blood splatter going across the table. And then he sets down the mixer with it still like on full, with one mixer on one side of the metal bowl, a bowl like this big. One of the beaters on one side, one on the other side, and he just set it down and turned away. And first, the mixer does a run around the bowl, and then it got caught, and then the bowl just starts spinning, and this liquid is sloshing all over the place. And I'm like, you should try this at home. Yeah, thank you. Hi.
Hi, I'm Megan. I'm from Vancouver, and I'm here celebrating my friend Ness's birthday.
Hi, Ness, wherever you are. Happy birthday. Ness, where are you? Happy birthday, Ness. How old are you? Oh, a baby. So you just finished puberty, huh? That's so cute. Still in it, yeah. I can hear your voice cracking a little bit.
I was hoping you could share one of your favorite birthday memories with us.
A favorite birthday memory? Oh, jeez. It's funny that you say that, because I immediately go to, I had this weird curse on birthdays. When I was a kid, I was always sick or injured or something went wrong. And shit, now that I mention it, my 50th is coming up. I'm gonna be extra careful. Like, I remember, I think I was 10, and I had a skateboard, and I remember it was my birthday, and I was like, what is happening? Everything's fine. And then I skateboarded backwards into one of the little metal posts that comes off a dumpster, and I bruised my kidney, which is the most painful thing you can possibly imagine. And I was literally bedridden with a bruised kidney. I had a lot of like really awesome, sweet birthdays. Like my 9th birthday, my mom threw a birthday party, surprise party for me, and invited all the kids in my class for a sleepover. And I fell asleep early, and I was in my own bed, and I slept with no pants on, and the kids in my class took the blanket off and took pictures of me. And that really sucked. And then for my 18th birthday, I came home from college, and my mom threw another surprise party for me, and she invited everybody that she could think of, and the only people that were there were my brother's friends. Oh, that was sweet. Thanks for bringing it up.
Hi, I'm Grace. I'm from Portland.
Hi, Grace.
Hi. So I used to be a unicycle performer. So what I
Me too.
Really?
Yeah.
Like actually?
No.
So I want to know if there was like an episode of Supernatural where they had to go undercover like at a circus. What would Castiel's circus act be?
Ooh, that's a very good question. I could see Cass as like the dancing bear. Trapeze, he could be pretty good at. I don't know. What do you think? You know what Cass could do? He could do like those he could do the magic tricks.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know. Don't they do those like in those like the circus clowns do those little interludes with magic tricks?
Yeah.
Like he could go in a box and Sam or Dean could saw him in half, and the cool trick would be they really did saw him in half, but he's still okay because he's immortal.
I could teach him how to unicycle, and we could unicycle together.
Well, that would be really awesome. Yeah. I like that idea.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it in a reboot.
Season 16 one.
That would be a condition of my contract. When we sign up for the reboot of Supernatural, I'll be like, I will do it. I'll agree to take a significant pay cut, but I need to always be on a unicycle. Work it into the show, guys. I don't care how you do it.
Plate spinning.
What's that?
Unicycling and plate spinning. I'd spin a plate while I was unicycling.
That's a great idea. Yeah, I think that would really draw in viewers too. Thanks for this fodder.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi, I'm Liz.
Hi, Liz.
All right, in Gish 22, I did the animatronic Trump task. My family had so much fun with it. My kids had a little too much fun destroying it.
Can you remind me what that was?
Okay, so the assignment was to make like a Teddy Ruxpin style Trump animatronic. And so I literally gutted a poor stuffed doll and turned him into Trump and stuck my hand up his butt and made him sync up to a speech that Trump was saying. It was like part of the task was something outlandish. I was like, oh my God, how do I pick? And I wound up picking one where he said that, us white people are being forced to the back of the line. I was like, okay, that's a ramble, I'm going with that. And it was hilarious, and we just, as a family, had a lot of fun with it. It was almost cathartic. And after Gish was over, the kids destroyed him.
Yeah.
Like the doll is no more.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I really wanted to thank you for that memory.
You're very much welcome. I always like it if I can play some small role in families getting involved with sort of voodoo doll style person of real life people. Yeah.
So speaking of politics.
Yay!
How how long would you survive a post-apocalyptic world, and how do you die?
I love that that was speaking of politics, because it does sometimes feel like that's where we may be headed. How would I survive? And then how would I die?
How long would you survive? And
How-
what ultimately does you in?
Well, I guess it really does sort of, what does me in depends on the apocalypse. Like if we're talking about nuclear holocaust, that's one thing. If we're talking about a zombie apocalypse, that's another thing. If it's a combination of the two, I think it's probably being in the embrace of a radioactive zombie that finally does me in. Like succumbing to the wiles of a zombie, not realizing that that zombie was actually radioactive, and then radiation poisoning, sadly. That's what does me in. And I will survive 2 days. Thank you. Thank you. Hi.
Hi, my name is Shara. I'm from Vancouver.
Wow, there are a lot of you Canadians here. This is what I'm talking about, these goddamn open borders. Millions of them streaming in.
Anyway,
Taking Hispanic people's jobs, probably.
as we all well know, during the show Supernatural, a lot of the times Castiel was described as being up to some antic or another off-screen. So with that said, my question comes down to which of those, off-screen ideas that were thrown out there in the show was your favorite? And if you have one, what's your headcanon around how those scenes went down?
There are some people in the audience here who are looking at me, shaking their heads sadly. There are people that have been to multiple conventions here, some of whom I recognize, and they're looking at me and they're shaking their heads sadly because they know Misha has no fucking idea what a single example it is that you're talking about. I think at one point he was like running, he was like in Israel or something, trying to get some holy oil?
There were ones like getting the fruit, which was the off-screen antics was married to, I think they're married to their queen regarding the gin, or there was the showing up on the Impala naked and covered in bees, or there was like a million other things that were
Well, the naked covered in bees is a nice one. What I love is sometimes people do cosplays of various different iterations of Castiel, and sometimes people come with like crazy casts. So he's got the trench coat, but he's got the the hospital gown underneath it, and then every once in a while someone will come up with like a skin-tight skin-colored bodysuit with bees sewn onto it. There was someone here yesterday like that? With wings? Oh, I'm sorry that I missed that. But yeah, there are these total sociopaths that occasionally dress up like that, and I'm always very impressed by that. So I think that that's my favorite. But what was the question actually?
If you had any headcanons around how that particular scene would have gone down.
Well, that brings up an interesting question, which is, what is a headcanon?
Basically, in your own imagination, how you think it would have played out.
Oh, well, I've played that one out in my head many times. You know what's funny? I was actually recently in a spa in Scandinavia where people were rubbing honey on their bodies in the spa as a thing to do. Like, there was like a little pot of honey, and people were like covering themselves in honey before sitting in the sauna. And I thought, it's kind of my thing. You're stealing my thing. What is your headcanon? And remember, there are children in the room.
Well, my headcanon kind of is, you know, Dean turned around, prayed for Cass to show up. He shows up as you know, as described, you know, sitting on the car, naked, covered in beef. Cue Dean-esque freak out of what the hell?
You really do have a headcanon on this. I guess I'm not terribly surprised, but one of the things that we never really talk about in that is like, has he been stung by the bees? And if so, is he also covered in welts? Like, think it through. This actually could have been a terrible idea.
Yeah, but you know, it was established that he communicates well with animals, so I don't think likely to be stung well.
Possibly, yeah.
But anyway, cue meltdown about, you know, naked butt on baby. And Cass, who at this point does not enjoy confrontation, moves away.
Very much sorry that I asked.
Dean's screaming at him when he's cleaning the car and don't forget the wax. Only for Dean to go get him to see and see if they can He's sitting on the seat.
That's what I was thinking of too. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Elena from Falls City, Washington.
Hi.
First of all, we absolutely love you and your character.
Thank you very much.
My family and I are very curious. Who has the job of doing the blood splatter? How does that feel when it lands on your face? Does it taste? And do you know it's coming?
Who is spraying this on my face? What does it feel like? What does it taste like? And do I know it's coming? I would point out to you that there are other possible interpretations of your question. But I have a sneaking suspicion you're aware of that fact. No. You always have, there's always a little indication that you can, if you're paying attention, that you can tell that it's coming. And it's not something that you actually want in your mouth, but depending on the scene, you might pretend that it doesn't bother you. And just swallow it down. It's shame on you for asking that question. Thank you. Hi.
Hi, my name is Lizzie. I'm from Bellevue.
Hi, you're so close by. Is this your house?
No.
Did you walk here?
No, I took the light rail here.
Oh, how ecologically awesome.
Yeah, my friend Raya came with me today, and we're both just wondering, what's your favorite Castiel moment? When I was on the Impala, I guess. I don't know. Well, probably my my farewell scene. Seriously?
Yeah.
That's the worst Castiel moment. When I tell you,
I keep getting these questions wrong. It's like, that's wrong. I would ask you what your favorite Castiel moment is, but I feel like I keep getting into trouble with that sort of line of questioning. But yeah. You can tell me the correct answer?
yes.
Okay, what is it?
Huckleberry.
Oh, I'm your Huckleberry?
Yes.
That's great. I love that, yeah. Yeah, that probably, or Cass, get out of my ass. One of the two. Hi.
Hi, Misha.
How are you?
So if this, God forbid, was the last supernatural convention that was happening, what would be the one thing you'd want to say to the fandom, say to us?
It's been fun. I would say one earnest thing, which I truly believe. I have watched over the evolution of this fandom from when I first encountered it 31 years ago. I have seen this particular fandom coalesce and coalesce around some identities and some cultures within this particular subculture. And one of those things is that everybody seems to be much kinder and more accepting and more embracing of one another and one another's differences in these rooms than they are in the harsh world outside. And people tend to take care of one another and look out for one another and have a general ethos of kindness, and seeing that as an enclave, and by the way, also as a bit of a force to be reckoned with. I mean, you people crash websites. And I think that can kind of function as a seed in the world that can grow into a tree and drop fruit and grow others and expand in the world. So I think it serves as a little bit of a microcosm of what a highly functioning and compassionate society could look like. That's what I'd say. I mean, this particular fandom, I have seen so many people go out of their way to take care of one another. People who maybe don't know each other closely, but have had some contact on internet through chat groups, and somebody's having a hard time, and other fans literally jump in their cars and drive hundreds of miles to take care of someone who's in distress. I've heard these stories over and over again, or people who have met their closest friends who have pulled them out of dark depressions within this fandom. And I've also seen this fandom coordinate to raise, over the course of the time that I've been a part of it, tens of millions of dollars for good causes and rally to support issues that matter. And I think that that's all really admirable and lovely, and it makes me proud to be a part of it. You have bad taste in television, but nobody's perfect. Hi.
Hi. I asked you a question. Yeah, this is another one. Holding it road.
That I also got wrong?
Well, not exactly. In Vegas 2020, right before COVID shut everything down, I asked you if you really didn't know what you were doing after Supernatural ended. And you said, yeah, I really don't know. But it turned out that was a lie. So, because you had already been engaged to be a surrogate for the Biden campaign, and thank you for doing that work. So when I ask this question, I really don't want you to lie to me. Can you promise that?
Well, I don't know. The debate technique that's known for lying is named after me, really, so.
Pretty sure it doesn't stand for greatest international.
I think it does.
Are you ever going to run for public office? And if so, you can lie about this part. And if so, when?
It's a question that I have contemplated, and still contemplate. There was a long period of my life when I was young and shy and full of self-deprecating humor that I thought, when I grow up, I think I want to be a politician, because it seemed like a good way to have a positive impact on the world. And then I interned at the White House, and I was like, wow, this is gonna be a tough slog if I have to somehow figure out how to work my way up in this really bureaucratic, sycophantic environment. So I know what I'll do. I'll go to Hollywood and I'll get famous real quick, and then I'll use that to catapult my political career. And then I went to Hollywood, and it turns out I was not Jared Padalecki. It took forever to be third on the call sheet on a CW show, and over the course of that process, I just forgot about that vision and found myself just pursuing my career and other art projects.
And now you have your fans raising tens of millions of dollars for good causes. So that you
might as
achieved
well
your goal.
pilfer some of that campaign coffers in a private jet. Yeah. So I don't know. I do think about it now. Like how to be most useful is a question that I contemplate, and I don't know what the answer is to that question. But I would like to be useful at some point. It's an aspiration that I have. And I don't know in what capacity. Probably. I mean, if I want to dream big, maybe city council.
Start local. If you need any suggestions, I have them.
Okay.
I'll offer them now, in the interest of time.
Okay. All right. I will hunt you down in the hallways. Okay.
Hi, Misha and Julie.
Hi, Julie.
Hi. So I am very passionate about volunteering and giving back to the community. It's where my heart lies. I'd love to hear your story of your why you chose to start giving back. There was a moment in time where something impacted you and you just wanted to start doing some outreach.
I don't know if there was a specific moment in time, and this is a question that I've contemplated and a question that I've answered before, and I think I might have now developed sort of a pat origin story that might not actually be a full or true rendition of history, but I'll give it to you anyway in the interests of being an aspiring politician. When I was young, we did not have a lot of money. We were at times quite poor, and there were a few instances where the kindness of strangers had a big and lasting impact on us. There are things that I still remember now from my childhood. My friend, when I was in first grade, his mother gave my mother $100 to buy me and my brother Christmas presents one year when she had no resources. I'm sure we would have had a lovely Christmas, but the gifts would have been homemade pickles. And she told me at the time what had happened, and I carried that with me. Like there was a lasting gratitude about that particular incident, and other just small gestures from strangers. We were sleeping on the side of a road in a tent, and someone pulled up in a pickup truck and hopped out and was like, "You guys need a place to stay?" and gave us. That took us to a motel and put us up for a couple of nights in a motel and gave us a gift certificate to Abdow's Big Boy for $14. And we were like, what? We're gonna eat so much. But that stuck with me too. And I think the takeaway was, it actually doesn't always take a lot to have an impact on somebody. And if you have an impact on a child and positively affect the course of their life at a young age, that changes the trajectory and potentially helps make somebody who's going to be paying attention when they grow up. So that has just always stuck with me, and I think it's been a part of my sort of background consciousness. And then I think it was this fandom that made me really take the first step in when I started Fandom X. That was because there had been an earthquake in Haiti. I had just, look at you guys just flush everybody out. Everybody leaves the minute.
That happens all the time.
That's gotta be a blow to the ego.
Yeah, no, it is. We're used to it though.
Guys, you don't have to leave. They're not gonna talk much.
Demand a refund? That seems abrupt.
Have you said some terribly offensive things up here? Is that what's going on?
Rob!
Over the years, yes.
But to finish your question, I had seen, I was relatively new to Supernatural at that point. I was about a year on the show, and I had seen all of these incredible works of art that the fans were creating, and all of the creative energy that they were pouring into things. And then I had, recently started a Twitter account, and there was this earthquake in Haiti, and I was like, what can we do? And then I thought, maybe I'll just set up a UNICEF fundraising page and put it out on Twitter and see what the fans do. And I woke up the next morning to see that $30,000 had been donated to this campaign. And at the time, I probably had 25,000 Twitter followers myself. It wasn't like this huge footprint. And I was like, oh, there's really something there. These people are generous and interested in being engaged. And that was the little seed that then led to me trying to work with some fans to start Random X, which was, has been exhausting, but really gratifying.
You've also, to your credit, especially even in your early days with UNICEF, found very effective but mildly covert ways to siphon a significant amount of that into your personal funds.
That's right. Speaking of the private jet that I was talking about earlier, yeah.
And the cars.
Yeah. Thank you for highlighting that. I had a little flutter in my chest. I was like, oh my God, is Richard gonna say something sweet?
Really nice, yeah.
A heartfelt.
Well, that was heartfelt.
Welcome to my world, Misha.
I got news for you. Those shoes didn't pay for themselves.
That little moment, like, oh man, we're connecting, and
me.
you're looking out for me, and I'm looking out for you, and we're part of the human family. No, fuck that, not with Richard.
No.
It's actually mean-spirited.
Listen, how can you rise from the ashes if you don't have somebody there to burn you down? You know what I mean? You're welcome.
Thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
Phoenix Killer.
Ladies and gentlemen, Misha Collins.